The motorsports world is where legends are made, the unthinkable happens, and barriers are broken. One man harnesses the power of an industry every week. This is the General Tire Down and Dirty Show, powered by Polaris RZR, with JIMBEAVER.
Welcome to this week's General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. JIMBEAVER here, locked, loaded. We are ready to go for 2 hours of, all kinds of motorsports content. We've got a couple of great guests today. I am going to jump into probably a rant here in hour number one. This is going to be a fun-filled 2 hours, my friends. But yes, speaking of guests, we've got my good friends Matt Tisillo and Lindsey Orage, two of probably the most influential people in global motorsport over the last decade. They are going to be on the show today talking about their new business, Wall Street Motorsport. It's an auction house for unique vehicles. Let's just put it that way. But they've got one of Ken Block's Subarus up on the auction block, and that's going to be, I guess, their very first ever auction item. Yes, it's kind of an eBay for people who actually like really rad stuff that's a whole lot easier to use. So, yeah, Wall Street Motorsport, check it out. But we're going to talk motorsports with them for the entire second hour. Yeah, we got them both locked in for a good hour-long segment. So, yeah, you don't want to go anywhere because hour number two is going to be pretty damn epic right here on the show. Hour number one, we got my good friend Andy Ives, a Polaris RZR engineer. He's also a racer. Just got done doing an event in sub-zero temperatures called the Iceman 500. So we're going to have him on the show as well, talking about his podium there in his Polaris RZR. So, yeah, pretty fun group of guests today, a little bit outside of the box. I'm going to dive into talking about some motorsports news. Lewis Hamilton, big announcement coming out of him. And Mercedes, also going to talk some Extreme E today because, we're getting close to the kickoff. I'm excited about it, but I got to tell you, something's rubbing me a little bit wrong with this series, and I'm going to dive into it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm sure some of you are going to get triggered. You're going to get fired up, and I welcome that. When you do, hit me up at JimBeaver15 on the Twitter machine, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, but probably Twitter, Instagram if you actually want to get heard and get responded to. But, yeah, I'm going to dive into talking about that. And I don't know. I got a lot of other stuff to talk about as well. So, yes, it's going to be a fun show today. We got a lot of guests. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. If you got a question or topic you want me to hit up on, at JimBeaver15, and we'll get it in the show today. And we're going to take a short break. We'll kick things off when we turn here to the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Whether you're looking for a tire that balances high-performance responsiveness and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in wet and dry conditions, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the all-new G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, cruising with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. You want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RZRLife to share your story.
Conditions off the pavement are always changing, so why settle for a light bar that just turns on and off? The Rigid Adapt is a revolutionary new light bar that will automatically select from 8 beam patterns that range from a widespread 90-degree flood to a 15-degree spot based on your vehicle's speed. Try that with your knockoff light bar. A dash-mounted controller allows the user to toggle between adaptive mode, beam patterns, and RGBW accent lighting. With Adapt, it's easier than ever to own the night.
From the 2018 Master Distillers of the Year comes a bold new American whiskey and fistful of bourbon. Their whiskeys have been award-winning for generations. Now they're going all in on bourbon, blending 5 straight whiskeys to create a big balanced bourbon that stands apart from everything else. So grab yourself a fistful of bourbon, a blend of 5 bourbons created with over 100 years of whiskey blending experience. It ain't just a bourbon, it's a damn fistful. Please enjoy responsibly.
When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or @VisionWheel on social media to learn more.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
All right, welcome back to the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Time to get cranking here, cranking. And we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, a couple of good guests. Told you we got Matt Tisillo and Lindsey Orage in hour number 2. Hour number 1, we got Andy Ives. So we've got some. We're going to be talking all kinds of motorsport today. Yes, before we jump into that, you know what? I got to tell you about one of our awesome partners here. Came on board a while back, and it's been good. You guys have actually been buying up this product. I get kind of sales reports, and man, you guys and ladies, yes, this can be both Manscaped and Womanscaped. From what I understand, this works very well for the ladies as well. But we're being brought to you by Manscaped, who's the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Big news, Manscaped just released their new cologne scent to help you feel good, smell good at all times. Who knew smelling this good could feel this good too? Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide, and I would say probably a decent chunk of women as well. Join the movement for all your below-the-waist grooming needs. Like I said before, a lot of you guys have jumped on board with Manscaped, and trust me, I have too. It's good stuff, and as we all know, they've got the perfect package 3.0 for all the below-the-waist grooming needs and above the waist as well, but it didn't stop there. They've got their new refined cologne signature scent by Manscaped. Trust me, this stuff actually smells good. Something you want to wear, and the ladies aren't going to go, man, you're creeping, man, wearing that stuff. No, this is actually something they might go, okay, you actually smell good today. It's got the same signature scent that's in all Manscaped formulas. This cologne is a perfect complement to the collection. Light, approachable, gentlemanly, in all the right ways. Unlike a lot of you listeners, right? Gentlemanly? Yeah, I know you. That probably doesn't explain it, but you know what? Trying this cologne might make somebody think you're an actual gentleman. Think of it as your wingman for the night to keep you fresh and ready for anything. Also, be sure and check out that perfect package 3.0 with all the essentials for your below-the-waist grooming needs, including the Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer and crop formulations. Yes, that lawnmower, it mows the lawn exactly what you think. I'm telling you, it works. It's amazing. And now you can get that Manscaped Refined Cologne to complete your set and smell great anytime, anywhere. You know what? It even gets better. Yes, it gets better. Get 20% off and free shipping using the code JIMBEAVER at manscaped.com. Your balls and your body will thank you. Don't forget, 20% off and free shipping. Code is JIMBEAVER at manscaped.com. Thank you, Manscaped, and thank you guys for continuing to support the show. But, yeah, like I said, thank you guys. You guys have jumped in, and Manscaped told me they're getting some pretty good feedback from you guys. So, that being said, obviously I talked a little bit about it, but we raced a week or so back. Parker 250 had a really, really rock-solid run. We got this new car. Obviously you guys have seen the videos at this point, stuff like that. It's called the Mona Lisa. Bought it from Mitch Guthrie Jr. Been obviously a guest on the show. Car is lightning quick. One of the fastest desert cars ever built, as far as Polaris RZRs go, and UTVs. This thing's wicked quick, and man, it's just really a breath of fresh air to drive something this badass and this quick again, and something that can run up front, compete for wins, and really stoked to have this car. It's funny. We had a great run. We were running up front, top 3 at one point on corrected time. I think at one point we may have snuck in and had the lead on corrected time. Never physically, though. We had to battle through the pack. Had some issues on lap number 2. pushed us back a bit, fought back, finished out 7th out of 30-something cars, right? Pretty good result. First time in this new car, first race out, putting up one of the fastest lap times of the day and finishing 7th out of 30 plus. Like, I'll chalk that up to probably a pretty decent result, right? Running in a little bit different division than I normally do. We're, Pro Turbo before. Now we're running in Unlimited in this new car. It's funny because the internet all of a sudden, actually I can't say the internet. Few people came out and just completely obliterated us on social media, saying we're cherry picking, we're this and we're that. And I'm like, man, have you looked at the times in this class? Have you looked who I'm competing against? Cherry picking? Really? I guess they're, I don't know. I got a group of people that just absolutely despise me and want to pick me apart. But, I guess I don't really need to explain things, but I figured I would for those of you who listen. And I don't know if they're going to hear this or not. I really don't care. But, we chose to run this in this specific division. The car fits legally into 2 different divisions in desert racing, right? Production Turbo and Unlimited. You would think Unlimited would be the premier division because you can do anything, where Production Turbo actually has rules, right? So you would think we'd be in the faster class. Well, they're actually comparable times speed-wise. The reason why we chose to run in this class, truthfully, was, we had a few sponsors ask us to run in this class because they didn't have any cars racing in this class. We didn't think it was a step backwards. We thought it was a lateral step, being that there's 30-plus entries, not like we're racing against 2. And we've got some factory-supported teams from other manufacturers there. So I saw that as a kind of a lateral move. All right, something new, fresh, fun, new competition, different guys we're not used to. This will be fun. Let's go do this thing, right? And, I guess a few people thought it was a bad move in off-road. So those of you that did think it was a bad move, I don't care. You guys can pound sand. Doesn't really bother me or affect me much at all. But, I just found it quite interesting, to be honest with you. It was really, we got a really positive thing going for our partners, our race program. Everybody on the internet's hyped up. We dropped this video between YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all the channels that aired. It was over 100,000 views. Everybody's amped, and then all of a sudden, yep, the haters gonna come out. Haters gonna come out, and they certainly did. So haters gonna hate. And the haters are definitely hating our program right now. But I thought to you, those of you listeners who maybe have saw that and saw this big old backlash we're getting on the internet for no apparent reason, thought maybe I would dispel some of the rumors and some of the crap that they're spewing there. But that's real reasons we're running where we're running. But all in all, it was a fun race, great race. Got me excited for the next one. We aren't going to the next Best in the Desert race though. We are going to skip the one in Laughlin. We're going to be running the Silver State 300 because I like that track a lot better. But we actually are making a few changes to the car, and then we're going to run, it's called the Baja Nevada. It's a 600-mile 2-day race in Nevada. We're going to be running that the following 2 weeks later. So it's back-to-back races for us. So we need to take one off to get prepared so we can do back-to-back races. So going to be a big April and May for our program. And not only that, but I'm actually getting ready to head to Supercross in Arlington, a.k.a. Dallas, Texas. Good friends at Supercross. We talk a lot of Supercross on the show, get a lot of riders on. They invited us out to a Super Tuesday round. So I will be on ground at Super Tuesday in Arlington in Dallas. For your Texas listener and you're out there, please hit me up. Let me know on social media. I would love to meet you guys in person, but I will be back out there at Super Tuesday round, Dallas, a.k.a. Arlington, Texas. What is it? The 16th, I believe, March 16th, Arlington. But I will be there, so definitely be posting a ton of social media and such from the venue and from the but I'm looking forward to not only getting to Supercross, see how they've actually been able to do it and manage to keep fans in attendance, things like that. Obviously I think they call it pod seating, stuff like that. I have no idea where I'm going to be sitting, but I'm excited to get out to Supercross, excited for that. And then, it's it's one of those where, it's going to be interesting, like Super Tuesday. Like, I kind of chose that. I could have gone out to a Saturday round. I was like, I want to go to a Tuesday one. I want to see the difference. I want to feel the vibe. I want to see, how everything's shaking up. So, I'm going to go out to Supercross here in about a week. So looking forward to that. I'm sure I'll be talking a lot about it over the coming week and weeks and stuff. But, it's going to be a lot of fun. Hell of a lot of fun. So, lots going on here. So I think when we come back from the break, we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk a little Extreme-y, and we are going to talk a little bit about Formula One and big news coming out of Lewis Hamilton's camp. So, we've got that. We got, I don't know, we got a lot to talk about. It's a big, big show today, so hang tight. We will be back, and, man, we're going to keep cranking here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Don't just shred your way through any off-road rugged terrain. Get into gear with GSP XTV and let us redefine your adventure. The GSP advantage of quality and performance sets a standard for UTV axles. We strive to provide premium ATV and UTV axles to keep you shreddy ready. Kick up some dirt and get in the driver's seat with GSP XTV. With over 35 years of experience, drive with a company you can trust. Drive with GSP. For more information, please visit us at gspxtv.com today.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. All killer and no filler.
Welcome back here to the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. It's time to jump into some things, and we got an interesting conversation happening right now in regards to Extreme-y. Now, there's nothing against Extreme-y. Promoters are doing what they got to do. It's going to be an amazing series. I'm looking forward to it. The global media package, everything is right about this. Like, yes, props to them. They got global teams. They've got Americans teams interested. They got European teams interested. It's going to be big. Big names involved. It's massive. I dig it. This is going to be awesome. I'm just looking at the teams, though. They had this driver search, this and that. All these teams got to have one male and one female driver, right? I'm looking down this list of confirmed drivers, and there's a serious lack of Americans, and mainly because I think it's a European-based series. But I'm just looking at it going, like, some of this talent that they got, it was like they purposely chose it to not choose an American. But, like, some of this talent, like, I don't want to say is lackluster. It's lackluster. I'm just looking down this team, and props to Chip Ganassi Racing. Chip Ganassi stepped up. They go, we're an American team. We're going to put Americans in there. And this isn't one of those America things. But I'm looking at it going like, this is us going to the global stage. And to be an American team and not choose American drivers, like, it's kind of a little bit weird, right? So they went out. They got Kyle LeDuc and Sarah Price. Two of the best, I would say, in the world. And they went and got them for their team. Like, I think Ganassi's going to annihilate everybody this year. But, there's a lot of Dakar talent here. I'm not going to argue that. World RX talent. There's a few female talents that absolutely need to be in here. Elia Sanz is amazing. Katie Munnings is phenomenal. You know what I mean? But then there's a lot of gray area, and I'm just looking at this, and I'm not going to name names, but I'm like, obviously Sebastian Loeb deserves to be here, things like that. But I'm just looking at things going, man, this is kind of weird. Like, why? Is Bryce Menzies? Is Justin Lofton? Is Luke McMillan? Go down to the Mexican talent too, like Tavo Vadosola, Dean Pudias, Keegan Kincaid. On the female side, Corey Weller, Sierra Romo, Mia Chapman. I'm just looking at all this talent, wealth of talent, going, why? Like, where? Jolene Van Vliet. what? Why not? Like, this is crazy to me that they just completely, like, and obviously Jolene is Canadian, but she'll claim both. But, I mean, wow. Like, I don't know, man. I'm looking at it, Steve Arpin. How deep do you want me to go down this? Haley Deegan. Obviously, she's doing NASCAR. Maybe she wasn't available. I mean, Brian Deegan, Tanner Faust. Like, what planet are these drivers not good enough to compete in this Extreme East series? And I think, it's kind of like the whole Formula One thing. Like, are we just not, Europeans don't view us as good enough. I mean, look at Joseph Newgarden. There's no reason why Joseph Newgarden shouldn't be in Formula One. Guy's a bad MFer. Alexander Rossi, obviously, he's gone on to be an amazing IndyCar driver, and they wouldn't give him a fair shake in Formula One. Like, I'm just looking at it going, like, why? Why? Like, what is the disconnect between Europe and the United States? We welcome European drivers over here to America. Americans, by and large, are not welcome in Europe, period. Flat, hands down, we're not welcome in Europe. The American drivers that have had to fight and scratch to get there. I know right now there's a big article right on the front of Racer Magazine called Racer.com. I call it Racer Magazine still, but, America's next F1 hopeful. A kid named Jack Crawford. He's over there and, and he's trying to fight for a Formula One seat, and it's, all the props in the world to this kid. Like, let's hope he can do it, but it's unfortunate. Like, Americans just don't get a fair shake. Like I said, Joseph Newgarden, would he go at this point in time? No, he'd be a fool to leave Penske and, for a backmarker F1 program. But, a few years ago, like, somebody would have went to Penske and wanted to put him in a top level seat, a Mercedes, a Red Bull, whatever, like, why not? And I know Haas F1, this goes into the F1 situation as well. Like, Haas F1, they have publicly said, Americans haven't supported us. We're an American Formula One team. Americans haven't supported us. Yeah, you're an American-owned Formula One team with an American sponsor, Haas, right? Nobody in America cares. And you know why they don't care? We did. When you launched, everybody in America was excited. Yes, American Formula One team. You know what happened? Nothing. You set your basis up in Europe. Fine, I get it. You got to do that because the majority of the circuits are in Europe. Or so they base themselves out of the UK. But you didn't hire an American Formula One driver. You can't have an American Formula One team without an American Formula One driver, at least one on the grid. Like, what? Haas, like, dude, you're your worst enemy. Like, you can't complain that Americans don't support you when you don't support Americans, period. Hands down, end of story. Haas, you're on your own worst enemy. Like, that's what I'm going with here. Like, I don't know the disconnect, and it's not that Americans aren't good enough. We're damn good. We're probably better than a lot of them in Europe. I mean, I've seen Europeans come over here and struggle, right? I can't tell you the last time an American actually got a true world-class top shot at something. I mean, actually, we got to go back to Dakar. I recently in the UTV division, Mitch Guthrie Jr. and Seth Quintero, they've both proved through that Red Bull program they can compete on the global stage. Robbie Gordon, was great when he had a factory program. Go back to Mark Miller. Mark Miller, do you remember him? With Volkswagen and in that program, Mark Miller was phenomenal on the global stage at Dakar. He was an American that conformed to the European ideals, and he freaking was amazing. And so you've almost got to go back to that. And, I mean, when was that? 15 years ago, maybe? I'm going to have to check my math on that. That's, but 15 years ago? Let's actually do this. I'm going to Google it. I don't normally do this while we're live, but Mark Miller Dakar. Let's see. Mark Miller Dakar. We're Googling this. When did Mark Miller do the Dakar Rally? Mark Miller, American professional off-road racer. Okay, so Mark Miller, Dakar Rally, third place in the Dakar Rally in 2010, sixth place in 2011. So we got to go back. We got to go back 11 years to get to to the last time an American, had a fair shake at the global stage. So Mark Miller in 2011. Yeah, that's sad. Once a decade, we get an American talent with a top flight European ride. I can count. I can't even count on one hand. It's going to take a ton. How many European talents do we have racing in IMSA? How many European talents do we have racing in IndyCar? Yeah, you get a lot of opportunities here stateside, right? And this isn't an America versus Europe thing. This is to me being treated equal thing. Americans aren't treated equal in Europe. Flat ass, hands down, we're not. You mean to tell me if we put an American driver through a program for WRC, they couldn't be competitive? Hell, Ken Block scored points at WRC, and Ken Block was running a program on a shoestring budget, considering WRC standards, a shoestring budget. And Ken will be the first to tell you he's probably not the best rally talent America's ever had. You know what I mean? Like he's not. And Ken will be up front and tell you, he's a bad mother. I mean, let me tell you, Ken Block, he doesn't get enough credit for his driving talent. But if you ask Ken, hey, are you the best rally talent America's ever had? Ken's going to say, nah. He's humble enough to say that, Ken's the best marketer ever in the United States as far as a motorsports driver goes. But pure talent-wise on a stage rally, Ken will tell you he's probably not the best American ever. But, so even him on a shoestring budget still was able to score points in the WRC. You don't think Ken Block, fully funded, couldn't have run up front in the WRC, put him in a full factory car? Like, Ken's a badass, Rallycross, yeah, Ken, he's one of the best. But, stage rally, yeah, I mean, and I love Ken, but, we're just being honest here. I don't know. This is a weird thing. It kind of caught me off guard. I saw the social media graphic. Then I start looking on Racer's website. I start looking at pretty much all this news like recently. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, what? It all ties into Americans in Europe and just honestly, just flat ass not getting a fair shake, people. So, yeah, I don't know. I would love to hear what your thoughts are on that. At JimBeaver15 on Twitter. On Instagram, let me know. That being said, I do want to stick on the Formula One thing. Lewis Hamilton, yes. Is he going to retire? Is he not going to retire? Obviously, he's tied with championships for the greatest of all time. He has got more Formula One victories than anyone in history. Mr. Lewis Hamilton, yes. What is he going to do? Well, obviously he signed another contract with Mercedes for 2021. Great. It's in 2021. But, yes, we got that done. He got that done. It's a 1-year deal. 1-year deal is interesting. Drivers normally like that big payday of a multi-year deal and committed money, things like that. Trust me, I'm a race car driver. I don't like 1-year deals. For Lewis to sign a 1-year deal, there's a lot of risk in that. And so for him to sign a 1-year deal, it's actually pretty damn interesting. Is he planning on going somewhere else? Is he planning on retiring? What does he know that we don't know? Like, I don't know. You would think he'd be at home for Mercedes for the rest of his career. I mean, it would be a huge shock if he actually switched to a Red Bull or a Ferrari anytime, and how they would allow him to do that, being Mercedes. Like, no, he's got to be there almost till he retires, but it's interesting, like him signing a 1-year deal. Yeah, that was some big news coming out. So we'll see. I guess we're probably going to have to wait till the end of this year to see what the reasoning was. But yeah, anyways, that's big news. We're going to take a short commercial break, and my good friend Andy Ives, Polaris engineer and UTV racer, coming off a podium, will be next. Right here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our RZR vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Life is all about sound. The sound of sports, the sound of the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Welcome back to the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Speaking of Polaris RZR, I'd like to welcome my good friend Andy Ives to the show, who not only races a Polaris RZR, he works for Polaris in the engineering side of things. How's everything going, Andy?
Doing good here, Jim.
Well, you are, I don't know, you and I have known each other for a long time, but I guess this is the first time we actually formally, I think, had you on the show, but want to talk to you a little bit. We had a big race not this past weekend, I should say about a week and a half ago. It's called the Iceman 500. You ended up finishing on the podium there, but I got to ask you about this race because, like, to me, Andy, I mean, you've kind of been a short course guy. I know you did some Terracross stuff. Obviously, you run, the Midwest, the Champ Off-Road Series, which it's called now. Formerly, we can pick our name. It's been called 2 or 3 different things at this point. But all that being said, man, this is like a cross between a short course race and a full-on, almost like a desert race because it's so long. Like, I don't know. Tell me a little bit about the event because it's like this unique race run on the ice. I mean, it's super long. Took you, 7 hours to complete?
Yeah, just under 7 hours to get it done. So, yeah, you pretty much nailed the head on the nail right there. The race is 500 miles long, and the course is really high speed. We're hitting up almost 100 miles an hour rather than the course goes. And it's a bunch of laps. We do about 50 laps, and each lap is right around 10 miles each. So, like you said, it's a pretty gnarly race, and I'm not used to being in the seat that often. My seat is more of the short course seat, the containment style. So you get in there for more than an hour at a time, you're starting to get a little bit sore and wondering when the end of the race is already, when we still got a long ways to go.
Yeah. Now, here's a question. I mean, obviously this is in the Midwest. There's no desert racing in the Midwest. So most of the cars back there are all 2-seat, and short course type cars that I'm sure they've kind of adapted to this. I'm looking at it like I've got my desert car here, this 4-seater. Based off a 4-seat, it's turned into a 2-seat. I mean, I've got almost a 40-gallon fuel cell in this thing. This thing will go 100 miles an hour easy. I think we're right around 100 miles an hour. I'm looking at it like, has anybody thought about bringing a desert car back there? You think it would do worth a damn, Andy?
Ask Dustin. He brought his vehicle out there, I think it was 2 years ago. He didn't have a very good time, though, I don't think. He had all kinds of issues. The big thing, difference there between the short course cars and the desert cars is really the cornering speed. The desert cars are big and heavy, big and heavy and bulky. They don't corner very well. So you're trying to, go faster on corners on the ice. Desert cars don't like to do that very well.
Yeah. Well, and, I know these are like 10-mile laps, right? So, take me through a lap because, I know it's super high speeds. How sharp are the corners? Like, kind of give me this course layout. Or are you doing like extremely long runs, you know what I mean, where there's no turns, things like that?
Yeah, it's fast. I think our average speed for a lap is around 86 miles an hour. So kind of give you an idea of like what we're doing. It's pedal to the floor the whole time. There are some tighter sections for sure when you come into the scoring tower there. To make sure you slow down and don't hit the guys at the timing booth there. But other than that, the course is pretty wide open. There are a couple hairpin turns as well. Kind of change it up a little bit, but for the most part, you're going flat out, long sweeping corners, keeping top speed up.
Yeah, that's got to be interesting, because I'm sure right at the start, everybody's kind of bunched up, you know what I mean? And then after that, it gets spread out, and it's got to make passing and things like that interesting. And when you're running tapped out like that, it's almost like a NASCAR race where – when you're on and off the gas all the time in short course or in desert racing, it's easy kind of to make up time. But I feel like on a race like this, man, it's got to be pretty tough to make up time once everybody kind of gets set because all the speeds are probably really comparative, especially if you're running, pedal to the floor. It's almost like a NASCAR race where making up 2 seconds seems impossible in NASCAR,
Yeah, you kind of agree right on there too. Going this race, we had a pretty good start. We're doing really good times and keeping up with CJ and some of the guys in the front of the pack. We qualified 6 out of like 30 cars, so things are going well. The beginning of the race was super, tough to see with all the snow dust. Again, we're used to short course, you don't get much dust, you get mud all the time. But with the snow dust there, it was tough to really, stay up with the pack and try to make passes. It was almost impossible at the start of the race with all the snow dust. You'd, get really close to the next guy, see his chase light blinking, but then if you don't get right up next to him, you basically lose him again in the snow dust. So yeah, and as far as keeping up, we blew a belt early on in the race. That's really the only issue we had. The rest of the stops we were looking good with gas and fuel, but really to make up that time just with one blown belt, that's almost impossible to make it up. We were 10-20 seconds a lap faster than the guys ahead of us, but really trying to pick up the speed and get there was almost impossible with the high pace of the leaders were going.
Yeah, here's a question, and like with belts, I've talked with like Levi LaValle. He runs, snowmobile on the Polaris, his team does on the snow side of things. And, like we were talking about UTVs versus sleds, and he goes, yeah, he's like, we don't ever really worry about belts. He's like, it's so damn cold out when we race. He's like, we just don't worry about it. He's like, and they're matted. And I guess when I've ridden snowmobiles, I never worried about it either. UTVs, we kind of this new one, we've got the belts way worked out, so I don't worry about them now. But something like that, I'd almost think with negative 11-degree temps and stuff like that, you wouldn't be so much worried about the belt. But I guess if you're pushing that hard and running 80, 90 miles an hour the entire race, like I guess it would build a lot of heat. Are you guys running open cover there, or I don't know. To me, it's weird. You wouldn't think you would worry about belts at negative 11, but I guess if you're pushing them that hard, you would at some point, Yeah,
my hands weren't worried about being warm. They were freezing the whole time, I guess. But yeah, belts, even with the ambient temperatures being that much different from what you guys are in the desert, I think about that top speed with that belt running around the pulley. It's basically like a paperclip bending the thing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It just generates heat kind of regardless of, what the ambient temperature is. And for the long stretches when you're, wide open throttle for, 3, 4, 5 miles at a time, it really does cause a lot of heat to be generated internally to the belt. And to keep those things alive takes a little bit of work. Last year we ran, a Pro XP, basically stock out of the box, and it did pretty good. We only had, one issue with belts on that race as well. But at each pit stop, we basically had to replace the belt and take a look at it, and we're seeing cracks. This year we were able to, spend some time, get on the ice, play around with some gearing in order to get some top, speed a little bit higher than the previous year, and also able to slow the belt down at the same time. So think about, actually go faster, but your belt's actually going slower, which really seemed to make a big difference this year, having belts live and not really having any cracks at all at the pit stops. Belts, you take them off and look at them during the fuel stop, but when you get back going, basically put the same belt back on and no problems going forward.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, this is one thing. Obviously, this is a tip of the cap to you. Obviously, you work for Polaris and kind of on the engineering side of things. But I know, like this new race car of mine. I mean, it's a Turbo S, but we're running all the Pro XP clutches and things like that. I gotta tell you, man, like you guys have done your homework. I mean, it's night and day difference from 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago till now. How far advanced Polaris has got in their clutching and with belt temps and things. And I mean, just right from the factory. I mean, we're not talking like on my new race car, we're not running any crazy billet clutches or anything like that. I mean, this is pretty close to factory stuff, and you guys have really done your homework, man.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. The short course as well. Seeing in previous years, guys are running with the covers off and still having issues with temperatures getting up there. So, with the Pro XP, transmission clutch covers, inner and outer covers, it really helps distribute that cooling to both the inner and the outer sheave. It makes the belt stay cooler because the sheaves are cooler for both, the difference between the inside and the outside. And it really has been a big improvement in life of belts. You used to see guys running with covers off all the time, just throwing dirt and mud inside the clutches and basically destroying them. But now the guys running the short course even are able to put the covers back on and run the whole race without any issues on belts.
Yeah. So obviously this one's in the bag. What's next for you, Andy? Obviously, I'm assuming we're going to see you in the short course series this summer. I mean, I feel like you're my sleeper, dude. You're my dark horse. Like, I feel like you're right there. Like, I watch your times. You've got to feel this way, too. Like, I feel like you're right on the cusp of getting that big win. I feel like it's coming, man. I feel like you've just been there. You're there every single year, and it's like I feel like it's just for whatever reason you haven't got over that hump. I feel like this might be your year, dude.
Well, hopefully it is. But, yeah, it's tough, working full-time as an engineer at Polaris and having time. I have 4 kids as well. So, trying to have the time to really prepare and be ready for races is really where I come up short a number of times. Once you have time to, sit down and get the good parts on there, get some testing in, things seem to go our way. But yeah, it's really just a balance of trying to get everything done, and both on the family front, at work front, and then also, trying to have some fun on the racetrack as well.
Yeah.
I guess this year is kind of a mixed bag. I think for, the Champ Off-Road Series is going to be back full force again. I haven't heard anything with COVID, shutting any of those races down at all. So we're going to be out doing that for the full season. We're actually packing up here a week from today. We're going to head down to Texplex, try that out. I've never been down there, so it'll be kind of interesting to kind of see the track down there, see who shows up. I'll get some big purses out this year to try to get some more people out. That first round actually got canceled or pushed out. They had that snowstorm down in Texas in the Dallas area. So I'm kind of just checking it out, see what happens with that series. And there's an endurance race down there towards the fall that we're going to team up with Luberg. Bring the bike man semi down there and try to do that 12-hour race and see if we can, pull off a win there.
Yeah. That 12-hour race, it's actually got me interested. I can't say it's on my calendar, but I can say it's on my radar. Like, I don't know, Texplex, they've done some amazing stuff there. And I feel like it's a great spot because I don't want to say centrally located because it's not, but I feel like there's a lot of West Coast guys that don't mind the trip there, but going up to, say, Wisconsin or Minnesota seems like a trek when in truth, it's not too much farther. But I feel like same thing with guys up north, they don't mind dropping down to Texas, but like bringing them all the way out to the West Coast is too far. So I feel like Texplex they're kind of in that magical spot where they can kind of draw from all over the country,
Yeah, kind of talking with some of the guys that, once the Lucas Series out west was canceled, they're kind of looking for a home to go racing. And I know a couple of guys from out there, they're planning to load their vehicles up and ship out to Dallas. And it's basically the same time, like you said, it's about a 15-hour drive for us coming from Minneapolis area. And then coming from Arizona or California, it's right around that, 15, 18-hour, drive, which isn't, a short drive by any means, but it's better than going from, Arizona to Crandon, for example, for, the World Championship and spending a day, straight on driving. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this series comes together and seeing what the rules turn out to be too. I think that's a struggle right now. Different series is they're trying to figure out, what rules are good and bad and trying to keep all manufacturers competitive with each other. So, it's a continuous thing with this side-by-side environment we're in. Things are changing constantly coming with new things and better things. And trying to level the playing field for all manufacturers has been a little bit tough, and trying to get rules set and be able to kind of keep them consistent year to year without having to have drivers and race teams spend lots of money to change stuff. So yeah, I'm excited for the year. It should be a good time. Lots of things coming up. So snow up here is starting to melt finally. So spring is on its way, and hopefully we can get racing here.
Yeah, and I think everybody's excited to get racing. I feel like last year was a scratch year for everybody. Obviously, we had racing in the Midwest with with Champ Off Road, things like that. But I feel like everybody I've talked to, even out at King of the Hammers, the vibe, everybody's just so damn excited to go back to kind of some type of normalcy. So I think racers are going to show up, fans are going to show up. I think it's going to be a good year for us racers, man.
Yeah, it was crazy, like the COVID thing. Yeah, at the Wisconsin race in the Iceman. Wisconsin's a little more lenient on stuff, so we were packed in, hundreds of people deep into a bar, and it's like, it just feels good to be back and talking with people, not having to wear masks all the time. And I guess Texas lifted their ban on masks and stuff too, so you hopefully get more of that, you said, the normalcy back, and you get to talk to people, hang out with people, catch up on things that you don't get to see, every day, and like I said, get back to normal.
Yeah, well, and you got to get back to normal on the racetrack, but I know I think Polaris has got a few things up their sleeve for later on this year, so I'm sure you're going to be busy with that too.
Yeah, we got to all, always have stuff going, but I think this year, more than anything, we got a lot of things in the hopper. Really excited. Been really busy here the last couple of years getting stuff put together, so we'll have some good stuff coming out, and hopefully be able to show you guys that stuff and get some feedback and talk to you guys at dealer shows coming up.
Awesome. Well, Andy, I appreciate you taking the time, my friend. It's always fun catching up.
Yeah, you bet. Take it easy.
And we are going to, take a short commercial break here, and we will wrap things up with hour number one, but we still have a whole lot more with hour number 2 right here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.
From the 2018 Master Distillers of the Year comes a bold new American whiskey and fistful of bourbon. Their whiskeys have been award-winning for generations. Now they're going all in on bourbon, blending 5 straight whiskeys to create a big balanced bourbon that stands apart from everything else. So grab yourself a fistful of bourbon, a blend of 5 bourbons created with over 100 years of whiskey blending experience. It ain't just a bourbon, it's a damn fistful. Please enjoy responsibly.
Conditions off the pavement are always changing, so why settle for a light bar that just turns on and off? The Rigid Adapt is a revolutionary new light bar that will automatically select from 8 beam patterns that range from a widespread 90-degree flood to a 15-degree spot based on your vehicle's speed. Try that with your knockoff light bar. A dash-mounted controller allows the user to toggle between adaptive mode, beam patterns, and RGBW accent lighting. With Adapt, it's easier than ever to own the night.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
All right, time to close out hour number 1, which means we still got another hour coming at you. Hour number 2 here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. But I had a few little rants there, and good friend Andy Ives on the show. Always fun having catching up with Andy. We've had some good times together back in Terracross days, traveling and maybe a little bit of partying here and there. But Andy's good people and wicked smart engineer for Polaris, man. That guy, he knows his stuff. Let's put it that way. So always fun catching up with Andy. Hour number 2. Don't know if we're going to have a whole heck of a lot of time for Q&A, but if you guys do have questions for me, hit me up at JimBeaver15 on social media. I could always do like a Twitter Q&A as well, if you guys like that, or maybe even a Facebook Q&A. I don't know. I know Facebook's got all these rad capabilities, but I just don't know that anybody actually uses it for that. Like, what does anybody use Facebook for anymore? I feel like they've all wanted to, I don't know. Facebook's tried to be everything to everyone, and it's kind of like diluted it. Like, I don't even know what to do. Like, it used to be post videos and post photos. Now it's like an auction site or a marketplace. It's, I don't know, probably a dating app. It's videos. It's a YouTube. It's pictures. It's LinkedIn. It's like now they've got the Snapchat thing with Facebook stories. Like, it's crazy what they've done there. I mean, you can actually have your web stores on there now, and they've got groups, and it's tried to take the place of forums. And I'm like, God, Facebook, like, you guys are just, yes, too much. I'm telling you, it's too much. Yeah. So Facebook ran over. But, yeah, I mean, hit me up. I would love to answer your guys' questions, if you've got them. And, I don't know, maybe we'll throw them into a social media feature or something. I know I've had a request. Yes, Power Rankings are coming back. Chris Leone, I will text him, and we will make it happen starting next week. Yes, Power Rankings will be back. I promise you. Guaranteed. Power Rankings are back starting next week. I'll lock it in. Put it on your calendar. It's happening. So, yes. So, yeah, with that, we are going to take a break. Before we do, want to remind you guys, manscaped.com. I'm a believer in it. You should be a believer in it. A lot of you listeners are, according to Manscaped. And, use the coupon code JIMBEAVER, and it's going to get you 20% off and free shipping. JIMBEAVER, 20% off, free shipping at manscaped.com. And, I think that's enough rambling for hour number one. I'm going to drink something here. I don't know, fistful of bourbon. Can I do that on air? Yeah. We'll be back after this on the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. You want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RazorLife to share your story. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out VisionWheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
Well, welcome to hour number 2 of the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Yeah, Jim Beaver here, just like I was for hour number 1, but boom, here on hour number 2. Those of you here on SiriusXM, thank you. Those of you that are wherever you're at, tuning in on Podcast One, Sports Byline, the U.S. American Forces Network, our website, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're all over the place. 200 networks domestically. Thanks for being here. And, yes, I'm telling you, this hour number 2 ain't. How did I throw ain't into this? Isn't going to disappoint. I'm really excited to air this interview after the break. It's my good friend Matt Tisillo and Lindsey Orage. Matt worked for Ken Block for well over a decade, helped create that program and turn it into what it is today. Lindsey has worked with Monster Energy, Ford World Rally Championship. She's worked with some of the biggest drivers and teams in the world and organizations, and both of them are on here to talk about their new company, Wall Street Motorsport. We are going to talk about Wall Street Motorsport, but we're also going to talk about quite a bit of other things, and when the three of us get together, I'm just telling you, fair warning, it quite might turn bananas. So no idea where this conversation is going, but it's going to be good. So yes. That being said, it is the kickoff to hour number 2. Want to mention once again this show being presented by our good friends at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. They can help you below the waist for all your male below the waist grooming needs. Also, all your female, you lady listeners, below the waist grooming needs. But if you go to Manscaped, Manscape.com. Use the coupon code JIMBEAVER. It is going to get you 20% off plus free shipping. That's Manscape.com. Coupon code JIMBEAVER. 20% off plus free shipping. So, yes, you got any suggestions, anything you want to talk about with me at JimBeaver15 on the social media machine? And, man, I am definitely going to pour myself a drink, some fistful of bourbon right about now. Sip on this over the break because I got to tell you, the next 45 minutes of this show with Matt and with Lindsey is going to be off the hook. You guys are going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it, and definitely going to need a drink to get this thing going. So, yes, we will be back with Matt Tisillo and Lindsey Orage when we return here to the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Hang tight. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our RZR vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
From the 2018 Master Distillers of the Year comes a bold new American whiskey and fistful of bourbon. Their whiskeys have been award-winning for generations. Now they're going all in on bourbon, blending 5 straight whiskeys to create a big balanced bourbon that stands apart from everything else. So grab yourself a fistful of bourbon, a blend of 5 bourbons created with over 100 years of whiskey blending experience. It ain't just a bourbon, it's a damn fistful. Please enjoy responsibly.
Looking to have some fun on 4 wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound of the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Like what you hear? Catch all the back episodes of the Down and Dirty Radio Show on Apple Podcast, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Well, I'd like to welcome a couple of my guests today to probably numerous shows. We're going to air this across the board, but my good friend Matt Tisillo and Lindsey Orage. Man, guys, I know we were talking off the air, but it's been a minute. I guess that's the easiest way to put it. But I don't know. All three of us, I've known you guys for a good decade now. I think you guys have known each other even predating that. But you guys got a new little project together. But welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Nice to be here.
Well,
normally I'm setting this up for somebody else to dial in.
That's what's weird. So Lindsey's been on the show a couple times, 2 or 3 times, I think, at this point. Matt, I mean, I've known you predating. I
usually work in the shadows.
Yeah, I know you predating this show. I mean, we go back to with Ken's HFHV car, he needed a license plate.
Yes.
He needed a license plate, and my family's got a Ford dealership, and we actually ran my family's Ford dealership's dealer plate on Ken's stage rally car in the States because it was a gray market car or a custom build, and they couldn't get it plated to run Rally America. So that was like maybe a year or two before the show even started. It's first time I met Matt.
Yeah. You were given to me as a contact that was a problem solver by the guys in Detroit that didn't want to give us a manufacturer plate to take care of that. So I actually wasn't sure if we were able to talk about that or not, but I guess it's been long enough that we can kind of say that we used the dealer plate for that.
I don't work for my family's Ford dealership anymore, and Ken's no longer contracted by Ford. I think we're clear, man.
Yeah, we're fine. Yeah, we're fine. Everything's fine.
So yeah, that predates that. That's probably a story in itself. But that's how I got tied in with you guys, and the whole Hoonigan Racing thing when you guys were.
Let me ask you this: did you ever get the plate back?
Yeah, we did. That was actually that was the greatest license plate loan ever because literally for like maybe 5 years, I would get like every 2 months a massive DC Shoes care package. And it wasn't until Alan left that those care packages stopped. But that was the greatest license plate ever because I probably got $50,000 in swag over 5 years from DC over one license plate loan. So I benefited off of that one. Let's put it that way.
Okay, as long as everyone's happy with the deal, I think we did well.
Yeah, which is funny because now Alan's at Ken's team now, right? I mean, this is such a small, like, weird world, man. It's, I don't know. But how are you guys doing? How's everything over there, Lindsey? I know you guys, with everything going on in the world, UK's been a little bit different than the States. States kind of opened back up. You guys have kind of still remained locked down a little bit. How are you? How's everything going?
Yeah, we've had it kind of, it's been really strange here because obviously we're much smaller and we're on an island. So, unless you can swim really well, there's not much that you can do at the moment. You can't really get out. It's been a very odd year. I actually got COVID about a year ago, almost the day, which was not fun and not something I would suggest for anybody else to catch by any stretch of the imagination. But I'd barely left the house in a year, which is not my life normally.
No.
Obviously, as you know, I'm kind of on a plane twice a week and zipping here and there. So yeah, it's been a really weird adjustment, but it did bring together Matt and I in a way that we could never have predicted or have hoped for. And actually, both of us stopped for long enough to come up to do something together for once. Whereas normally I'm kind of getting on a plane and flying in the opposite direction to him, or we're both at the same event tearing our hair out and wanting to sort of scream. But that kind of bit of our lives has changed significantly now. Obviously, a lot of motorsport. It's just the cars going around now. There's none of the fun stuff on the side that we have been doing for the last 10 years. So it's been a bit of an adjustment, but, I'm still alive. So I suppose that's a good thing. But yeah, didn't really want 2021 to be as, quite frankly, boring as 2020. So we thought we'd come up with a fun new project and give us something to get our teeth into. So.
Yeah. Well, and I think I met you originally maybe through Matt in a roundabout way. I can't even remember at this point how you and I got connected, but you guys.
It was when I ended up with the Daily Mail.
Yes, yes. That's when you tackle the mugger or however that went. Yeah, I think we talked about that on one of the shows, but it's funny because I don't know a lot of people. You still Google search it, and it's funny as hell to read through that. But yeah, honestly, that kind of
the comments still haunt me. The comments still haunt my dreams. But that feels like so long ago, and it probably was now. It was like, I guess it was sort of.
It's probably a decade ago this year.
Yeah, it's probably a decade ago.
But you guys have been really close friends for a long time, and and I think this to me is like great. It's like you guys finally get to collaborate, and it's like two minds that are amazing in this business. So, like, how did this whole thing? I mean, Matt, I know you've we talked about you. Obviously you worked with Ken Block for a very long time. You and Ken are still very close. But you've kind of gone out, done your own thing. How did this whole thing, Wall Street Motorsport, how did this all get hatched? Because I know randomly, I'm kind of in the know with this group and things like that, and I didn't see this thing coming. I randomly get a box in the mail about a month ago, and it's And it's, and it's from Matt, and it's all this Wall Street Motorsport stuff, handwritten letter. Hey, Jimmy, let's catch up soon, Matt. You know what I mean? And I was like, wow, okay, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden, literally like a couple days later, I start seeing stuff pop up on it and things like that. I mean, how did this whole thing get hatched, man? And kind of tell people what it is before we go back into going off some, on some rant about something we probably shouldn't be talking about.
Well, so it's funny. So over the summer, I was actually living in Southern California at the time, and in the middle of the pandemic, and was kind of having a bit of like a midlife crisis moment. And I had come across
it was more than a bit. Come on, it was more than a bit.
More than a bit, yeah. I'm downplaying that slightly, but basically, I'd come across a 430 Scud on what would now be a competing platform, and it had been a former Richard Petty driving experience car out of Las Vegas. So 60,000 miles, no dealer services, repainted, converted to steel road. I mean, basically just get in, flog it, because it's never going to be a collectible and you can actually use the damn thing. Yeah. So I kind of started noodling the idea around in my head. I was like, man, you know what? Bored of the pandemic, this could be fun. Going through some stuff anyway. Maybe I should do it. And I kept an eye on it, and then it crossed the 100K mark. I was like, okay, it's still a pretty good deal. But then I was like, wait a second, I'm going to sacrifice $5,000 off the top just to get the introduction email to the selling party to buy the damn thing. That didn't sit well with me. So I started kind of, thinking in my head. I was like, there's got to be a way to do this better. There's got to be a way to make this so that it's a bit more balanced. So I started kind of crunching some numbers and run some ideas. And I talked to Lindsey about it. I was like, hey, I'm thinking about this. And, we started kind of fleshing out, percentages and skipping doing the seller speed, stuff like that. And then, it was probably, that was June, this is August. And it's a Saturday. I'm sitting there and I've got Wolf of Wall Street on. And I've been trying to come up with a name for this thing. And I text Lindsey and I was like, yo, Wall Street Motorsport. And all I got back was a big thumbs up, 100% yes. So first thing I do, based on my experience, is I check if the Instagram is available. And it was. So then I went through a lockdown like that and the variation on it. And then I checked the URL. URL was available. So I was like, great, I'll take that as well. And then Lindsey locked up the UK one. I was like, okay, good. Now we can start kind of building this thing out a little bit. And then, fast forward to now, we've gone through kind of, the business structure behind how we want to run it, the brand attitude and tone and the feel for things. And the idea being that hey, we're here to have fun. Obviously selling a car is serious, but cars are supposed to be a good time. You're supposed to have fun. And I find that a lot of those sites out there right now, it's very just dry and boring and not fun. I mean, the cars themselves are obviously fun, but the way they're presented and marketed to you as a potential bidder, it's just not as good of a time as it could be. So, we got all that dialed in, and then it was focusing on just getting the site built, functionality, and make sure the aesthetics were dialed in. And then I was like, great, let's launch, let's get the thing going. And now we've been live in the States for almost a week and a half now. The UK launched yesterday. We've got our first auctions closing on the US site tomorrow. And now we're talking to you.
And let me tell you, we got a whole hell of a lot more to come with this interview. But, it's going to have to wait till after this break right here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by, you guessed it, Polaris RZR.
Conditions off the pavement are always changing, so why settle for a light bar that just turns on and off? The Rigid Adapt is a revolutionary new light bar that will automatically select from 8 beam patterns that range from a widespread 90-degree flood to a 15-degree spot based on your vehicle's speed. Try that with your knockoff light bar. A dash-mounted controller allows the user to toggle between adaptive mode, beam patterns, and RGBW accent lighting. With Adapt, it's easier than ever to own the night.
Don't just shred your way through any off-road rugged terrain. Get into gear with GSP XTV and let us redefine your adventure. The GSP advantage of quality and performance sets a standard for UTV axles. We strive to provide premium ATV and UTV axles to keep you shreddy ready. Kick up some dirt and get in the driver's seat with GSP XTV. With over 35 years of experience, drive with a company you can trust. Drive with GSP. For more information, please visit us at gspxtv.com today.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
All right, welcome back to the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Jumping back into things. Yeah, and you do realize, like, this site, you guys have curated these listings, and they're actually amazing. I love the tongue-in-cheek humor with the descriptions. I mean, they're fun, they're funny as hell, but like, I've got a big problem with it. I want to bid on like 5 different vehicles on the site right now, and I'm telling you, there's this lightning, and it's like I keep waiting for somebody to spike this bid, and it's not there. So I'm like watching it daily going, am I going to have to drop some offer in here right at the end and just buy this thing? Because I keep waiting for it to go up. I keep waiting for it to go up and then go, all right, yeah, it's too much. I can't afford it. But I'm like, man, I can really afford this thing. There's no reason why I shouldn't own this right now. So
I can tell you that there's actually been a lot of activity on that on the back end in terms of people keeping eyes on it, as well as asking the selling party questions.
Gotcha.
So I think a lot of people are like you, and they're like, ooh, okay. And like, you know, as usually is with like a lot of these like auctions, the big flurry of activities in the last few hours.
Yep.
So, I mean, I do encourage you to, you know, register and bid.
Well,
you might get it.
Yes. I don't know if that's good or bad, though. I need another vehicle. I do. I mean, the answer is always yes when that comes up. But you do have a marquee listing I know we want to touch on, because that one's closing out here pretty quick. I mean, obviously we know the tie-ins with both of you and Ken Block. Ken, I mean, I think this is amazing, Matt, because I've been friends with Ken for years. I've been up to the shop there in Park City. Like, he had this second hangar and these covers over all these amazing Subarus that couldn't see the light of day because of his Ford contract. I don't know if I'm supposed to be talking about this or not, but I love Ken and I don't really care at this point.
No, you can definitely, at this point, again, he's out of that deal, so you can definitely talk about it.
Yeah, but like, I went back there and I'm looking at all these and I'm like, oh my gosh, people need to see these cars. Like, people forgot about these. These are amazing. He has a beautiful collection of cars. And now to like see the light of day, and these cars are getting like the cobwebs blown off them. But for him to actually put one of these, I mean, these are iconic cars, man. To put one of these up for sale where somebody could actually buy it, you know, it's pretty insane, because I mean, owning a Ken Block car is not something everybody's going to get to do, right?
No, and the thing is, it was a very generous offer on his part. I mean, he literally reached out. I was like, hey, like, I saw your thing. It looks awesome. Like, would you like a car? And I was like, oh my God, yes, please. Like, I will for sure take one of your cars. And when he offered me the Subaru, the Sun Junkies car, you know, at the time, like, I was like, oh, this is great. Like, you know, he can actually openly talk about all of his other cars now. It's a significantly important car in the sense that, like, obviously he did that jump. But then it turned out that it was also the car he drove to his first national championship level win at 100 Acre Wood in 2006. And then last week, I got a call from Travis Pastrana's first co-driver, Christian Edstrom.
Yeah.
He and I used to work on a magazine back in New York, God, years ago, 2008, 9. And he was like, hey, do you have the logbook for that car? And I was like, going through the PDF of the logbook. I was like, yeah, why? He's like, look at this date. Turns out it was also the car that Travis Pastrana drove at his first ever like full rally, which was Snowdrift in
wow.
04, I think. So like the car actually has some notable history on it.
That's actually, to me, that's crazy that I you know, Ken's first win, the Stunt Junkies car that set the world record jump at the time, and Travis Pastrana's first ever stage rally, all in the same car, and it's for sale on your guys' site. Like, that's, to me, that's pretty insane. I mean, there's not often that a car with that pedigree, that almost makes it like a museum piece at this point, I'm thinking, you know?
Definitely. There's not many drivers who want to get rid of a car like that.
Yeah, I would say it's one of the more significant cars in terms of U.S. rally history.
Yeah, definitely. That's, which is crazy, because I first saw it, and I'm like, man, this car could still, you could still go out to a Rally America race and have a hell of a lot of fun in this. But now knowing them, like somebody buys this, I don't know that they're going to want to rally it, but I think it needs to be rallied. I'm sorry. It just needs to be.
No, I think if you win that one, you gotta put it to use at some point.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. So when you guys curate cars, because I mean, you're not wanting to turn this into, say, eBay Motors, where there's 50,000 cars and it's cutthroat and it's nasty and it's just shady, and like I hate going on there. I go on there and look at stuff, but I hate the whole process over there. Like, I know you guys are not trying to make this something like that. You're trying to really be careful with what you present, something that's unique. You don't want to have
Correct.
300 listings at one time going on there. I think it dilutes everything. But, kind of what are you guys looking for when you look for cars to bring in? I mean, how are you guys kind of curating what you have on the site?
So, the idea is, the basic rule is, would we drive it? Right? Like,
yeah.
Like, is it cool? Like, would we drive it? And I think, by operating that, again, Lindsey and I, I don't want to say we have excellent taste, but we have reasonably good taste. Would you say, Lindsey?
No, I think so. I think mine's probably a bit better than yours because I've never done like a drunken try and buy a yellow Ferrari online one evening. But, I still love you.
But like,
bus Matt under.
But like, but the idea is that like, if it's something like we can picture ourselves in, or that we want, that's kind of a good barometer for should we take it. Obviously, we don't want to be too niche because there's plenty of people out there that are trying to be very specific, like oh, we're only doing 80s and 90s, or oh, we're only doing 90s and aughts, or oh, we're only doing like this brand. But I think we're trying to cast a wide net, and I'd say probably things from as far back as like early 60s up until current models. Yeah. But it's got to be. It can't just be like, something kind of regular. It's got to be something like reasonably cool, or like, again, something like we just put up the 2015 4Runner, like trail, teams, trail pack. I'm driving, so I apologize. I can't remember what the actual listing said. But the thing is, like, are there plenty of 4Runners? Yes. But this is kind of like the highest level option, and it's like nicely equipped with some like basic overlay and stuff. So that to me kind of like kicks it up another level. It's attainable, it's accessible, whereas, perhaps Ken's car, when it's finally said and done, isn't as accessible. So I think it's, it's kind of having that right mix. But the idea is that like, if you are into cars and you're passionate about cars, the vehicles we choose to list should resonate with you, is the goal.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, because it's all got a bit boring, hasn't it? It's all got a bit like, I've got a 911 in the garage, but I'm too frightened to drive it, or the the insurance premiums are so ridiculous that if I bent it, I might cry. And that's all well and good. If you've got the money to do that, that's great. But particularly here in the UK, we've not been able to go more than like 10 miles away from where we live for almost a year. And I've not even bothered taxing both of my cars. I've had them off-road so that, when I get back to using them, they are going to get driven wherever. Like, I think people are going to go crazy, it's particularly here, once the kind of restrictions get lifted, and obviously when we can all go to the pub, like the whole country's going to be drunk from basically April 12th onwards. I think just trying to bring that fun factor back to it, because it all gets so serious sometimes, and also like it cuts out a part of the market that I've always felt that I have female friends who love cars and are interested in cars, but don't feel that they can be in that space because they maybe feel like they would be judged if they didn't know the exact rating of the engine, or this or that, or like those technical details. And that's not what, like, I drive cars because I enjoy driving, like not because I like to know what the brochure says about it. And I think that's got to be brought back in some way so that we can all embrace that more and just have fun with it. Like, I have an old Land Rover Series 3, which my boyfriend literally refuses to get in because he considers it a death trap. And I have a 944.
By the way, he might not be wrong. by the way.
I mean, he's probably not wrong. But as I've said to him before, the reason why it doesn't have seatbelts is because you want to be thrown from the wreckage. You don't want to be trapped in it. There's too many right angles on it for him, and he's like, there's too much sharp metal near my face, and I'm not happy about this. So, yeah, the dog gets in it with me, and like my friends do, but he refuses to. And I have a 944, like a late S2 944, which didn't cost me a huge amount of money to buy. I know is going up in value, but it's so much fun to drive because it's like perfectly balanced. And I take it out in the snow, I take it out in whatever. And it's like, I have so much fun in it that every time I drive it, I come back and I'm like, that's why I bought that car. And I think that's what it should be. Like, it shouldn't just be about having a car that you can drive to a car show once a year that you're, like I say, you're too terrified to drive. Like, if you want to do that, go nuts. But it should also be about, have I got something in the garage that I just have this a massive grin on my face whenever I get in it? You know, that's to me what is really important about being in this world.
I agree with you guys, and I feel like sometimes, and this is just a larger car conversation, but it's sometimes with the auto industry, they've got so tied into specs and performance and things like that that they've lost sight, you know, and it's like I've got this real problem now with the lack of stick shifts. It's like the new Shelby GT500 from Ford, you know, it's got this 10-speed, basically automatic, you know, paddle shift, and I'm like, I don't want that. I would rather have a 6-speed manual. It's like the Lamborghinis now. You can't find a stick shift. I'm like, if I ever bought a Lambo, I want a stick. Like, I get that I'm going to give up something, you know, performance-wise, but to me, it's the fun. It's like I just ordered a new Bronco, and I ordered a stick shift, and everybody's like, why would you do that? And I'm like, because it's for something for me to go and have fun. This is going to be a fun car. Like, I don't want to crawl around with an automatic. I want a stick, you know, and I feel like the fun factor is lost, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because I think I just saw something like either earlier today or yesterday, but it was a report basically in the United States, Porsche was saying that 73% of the people ordering GT3s were ordering a manual transmission, which we all know is not the one that's setting like the record paces at the ring, but it's because it's more fun. And like, I think that's great. I love that you ordered your Bronco with a stick because quite frankly, it should be a fun vehicle. Like, I don't think it would be the ideal, like, slogging around traffic commuter anyway. Like, you should be having a good time with something like that.
We'll return after this on the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Whether you're looking for a tire that balances high performance, responsiveness, and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in wet and dry conditions, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the all-new G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, cruising with the Down and Dirty Radio Show since 2012. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
You're listening to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. All killer and no filler.
Welcome back to the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Talking about stick shifts and automatics here with Matt Tisillo and Lindsey Orage. And Linz, I know you had something interesting to add in regards to sticks and autos.
Well, and also, frankly, if you drive an automatic here, it's like you will be mocked senselessly in the UK. Like, I'm not being funny, but you can get an automatic license here and you then cannot drive a manual stick shift car. You have to go and take another test to prove that you can do it. So It's like, yeah, if you drive an automatic here, it's pretty special. So, it's reserved for a special group of people.
Really?
And you will be mocked nonstop.
I didn't know there was 2 different levels of licenses for stick and automatic.
Story.
And that's actually interesting. So you actually get made fun of if you got the automatic license.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not standard here at all. If you try to find an automatic, it obviously in supercars and with not anything kind of more basic. But yeah, finding an automatic here is very, very, sort of unlikely. So yeah, if you want to drive properly, learn the away. Come on, guys.
I
It's
actually love that. I love that. Like, makes me want to move
We do
to.
it properly over here, all right? Like we put the correct amount of vowels in words.
Oh,
spell
Oh
things
no.
correctly.
Okay. This is a disputed statement. I want to point that out.
You remember how it's called English, not Americanish, English.
All
So
right.
I just want you to all remember, okay? We designed it. It's ours, okay? Thank you very much.
So let me ask you this, Linz. There's like a handful of countries that drive on the left-hand side of the road.
Correct side of the road.
So,
Yeah, us, yeah.
So there's
On the
like
correct
you
side.
and Australia and what I believe Japan, correct?
Hong Kong, I think.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so you guys are
Pretty
right, and the
much
rest of the world.
everywhere that we had as our empire originally that we no longer have.
Except for us damn
Australia, New
Americans.
Zealand, yeah, South Africa. Yeah, it's crazy. It really, really is, and we're sort of but it is the correct side. Come on,
What's the purpose behind that? Let me ask you that. Like I don't know. Is there what was the reasoning? Do you either of you guys know why some countries are one side and some
I
are the
have
other?
no idea, but I can drive either
Well,
side.
so-
And it doesn't. My brain works it out. It doesn't affect me at all. But there's a lot of people that drive here who wouldn't dream of driving a left-hand drive car because it just completely throws them. And yeah, it's. I guess I've driven every
Yeah,
country in the world representative, so it's not.
If you
insane.
haven't done it, it's a little intimidating. But once you've done it for a while, I mean, I can land at Heathrow and minus that first turn that I always screw up. After that, it's totally fine. But I think more interesting is the fact that Sweden, up until it was like in the 50s, I think, 50s or 60s, they drove on the UK side of the road.
Really?
And then they had this thing, I believe it's called yeah, it was like an overnight thing. It was literally, they called it like H Day or something. And they literally, the next day, they're like, okay, cool, we drive on the right-hand side of the road now.
I wonder how many traffic accidents they had that day, that first day.
Well, I feel like they had less cars back then, so maybe it wasn't as bad. But my point being is that somebody abandoned that setup, so maybe it's not the right way.
Well, again, we haven't got an empire left, so I'll take that defeat. I'll take that defeat. Fine.
Oh man, that's good stuff. So site's just getting rolling now. I mean, what's next? I mean, obviously, obviously you guys kind of want to grow it. Do you have a happy number of vehicles you'd like at any given time? And here's the question: motorcycles. I gotta think you guys are including, high-end motorcycles, things like that on the site, right?
So yeah, I mean, we have a number in mind in terms of what should be up there live at any given time. I don't want to say it just yet.
Yeah.
But it's certainly, we're not looking to be doing 400 listings live at any given time. It's just that's too much to sift through. It's just at that point there's no curation. But in terms of motorcycles, we are open to motorcycles for our FAQ. However, we are not interested in boats or airplanes.
Yeah.
So I think that's important to point out.
Yeah, things get dicey with boats and airplanes. I think it's that'd be a tough one. I get that, but
well, and truth be told, motorcycles are interesting because, like, I think if you're into cars, you admire motorcycles.
Yeah.
But the take rate is obviously significantly less. And personally, I've only ever had a Vespa, which is laughable, but it was a '62 Allstate, so at least it was like. It smelled like I'd like pour oil in it and shake it at the gas pump. People look at me crazy. But I don't personally have a background in that. We do have a few people in our network that are willing to help us in terms of the motorcycle listings when we get submissions for them.
Okay.
But I suspect they're going to be few and far between, unfortunately, just because it's not our normal realm.
Yeah.
I think we've got some weird and wonderful stuff, particularly here in the UK as well, that'll crop up. We've got an interesting listing that we put up yesterday, which is a piece of Top Gear memorabilia.
Yes, I saw that.
A friend of mine who has quite a large collection of items from Top Gear back in the day when it was good, like when people actually watched it, and he's got a really cool piece there for us, which I discovered yesterday. So it's 4 scooters all hooked up to one like drivetrain, so it looks like a Roman chariot that the Stig drove. It's hilarious and a potential death trap. I'm not going to lie. And the stunt driver who drove it yesterday told me that they drove it originally with the 4 scooters hooked up, and he was so frightened that they had to disconnect 2 of them because it was so lethal. So it's actually, you can drive it on 4 scooters or 2, depending on how brave you're feeling. But we've also got we've got so many things over here that you guys would never have got in terms of like specs, and people have got all sorts of weird things in their garages, and particularly when the sun starts to come out in the next few months and everybody comes out of hibernation, I think we're going to find some really cool stuff in people's collections that we can dust off and find a new owner for. So it's exciting. That's the bit to me that is super exciting, of like finding kind of rare and random things that you might not find elsewhere, and the cool stories behind it of what people have done with them, and enjoyed years of driving them and want to pass them on to somebody new. That's a nice thing to be part of.
Yeah, and I think with the site too, like just looking at the vehicles you've got curated right now, I think it's kind of the interesting thing is going to be that I feel like people can log in once a week and kind of see what's new, and you never quite know what's going to pop up there, So I think it's something where it becomes a part of your weekly, online routine where I got to go and check out and see what they've got listed this week, because it's like you said, they're not normal vehicles. They're interesting, just things that you might come across, but. Here's a question for you, Matt. I mean, I'm looking back. I've known you for well over a decade at this point. Is there any part of you, like I look and, obviously you were kind of at the ground floor with Ken when Ken became Ken and this global icon and things like that. But you guys, what you and Ken and Brian and there's a list of you guys, but you kind of created this whole different subset of car culture and things like that. Obviously, this website is in a roundabout way an extension of it. You see what Ken's still doing. You see what people are doing. How, 18, 20-year-olds are participating in car culture now. I mean, is any part of you, like, you got to be kind of stoked and proud that you were a part of helping create kind of this global phenomenon, man?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely a badge of pride. I like that I've been able to kind of help a great deal. I mean, like, even just from like being able to be in the room for the right conversations. Like, I remember when Ken and I went to Germany to sit with the team that was doing the Focus RS, actually, I guess it was the 3rd generation, whatever the one that came here was. And we went over there for like development stuff. We sit in a meeting, and I remember distinctly sitting in the meeting where they're like, all right, well, listen, you two are here. Like, what's more important, all-wheel drive or a wider body? Because the budget only allowed them to do one. It was very much like the old like economics thing. It's like, okay, the factory can either make guns or butter, which I'm like, what kind of factory is this? It makes no sense, but sure. And we were like, all-wheel drive. Like, we can fix the bodywork ourselves. So like to be able to sit there and kind of like cast a vote, so to speak, for helping shape enthusiast vehicles, super cool. In terms of kind of helping be a part of reinvigorating car culture and getting younger people interested and involved in cars, even if it's mostly focused on violent driving with cars, so to speak. It's still getting them in, right? It's still planting the seed. It's still kind of helping then steer the direction of how the OEMs are thinking in terms of like, okay, like we need to make sure that like we're keeping things here and generating products that are still interesting to this market. So yeah, I mean, super proud of it. I had more fun than I should be allowed to have doing that job. And, obviously you can't do anything forever. And, it was time to do something different. And, obviously the pandemic hit and that kind of changed plans a little bit, and I did a little bit of a pivot. But, I'm excited to kind of be now into this space and helping facilitate people get the vehicles of their dreams, right? Either selling a car that meant a lot to them, they want to go to a good home, get a good price, or, helping people get into that 430 Scud that's going to help them through their pre-midlife crisis, So, yeah.
So did you end up with it? I guess is the right question. Did you end up with that?
No, I did not. I actually did not, because of the fee and because I actually thought the actual price itself had kind of moved beyond the point where it was a good deal and smart. And also because my girlfriend at the time was like, "Don't you fucking dare." So I did not.
So
in hindsight, I probably should have.
So that means the crisis is still going on, or did you scratch the itch and the crisis averted yet?
Ongoing.
It's ongoing.
Ongoing. Much like global warming and the pandemic and everything else. My pre-midlife crisis is ongoing. Lindsey will attest.
Oh, I fully attest. But I'm also here. I'm here to encourage it up to a degree, but also then cap it when it needs to get a little bit. Bring it down a few notches. I'm there for the fallout, so it's all good. I got you.
I don't see you as the voice of reason. I'm like, we're in trouble when she's the voice of reason, Matt.
I know, right?
For sure.
That's what getting COVID does to you. You suddenly become slightly more sensible. I haven't been out and fought anybody in the street since I last spoke to you, Jim. So maybe that's like, maybe I'm maturing. Maybe that's like, that's progress. I feel like I'm grown up now. I'm a big girl, so
yeah.
I won't fight any more people in the street. Maybe until like COVID's properly passed. I don't want to catch it again.
Yeah. So what? I guess what's on the agenda for you, Linz? Once obviously you guys are getting ready. A month and a half away from kind of being released there in the UK. But what's up next for you? I know at one point about a year or two ago, I got an invite, and it's probably the one I wish I would have accepted the most out of anything in my life that I've ever turned down. But it was to go to the Monaco Grand Prix, and there was like a yacht involved and all this. And I'm like, how did I not end up in Monaco with you on a yacht? I'm like, can I get a do-over at some point? Like,
yeah, of course you can. Matt and I will have a yacht in Monaco one year. You're always welcome.
All right.
Yeah, it's been like I say, last year was obviously pretty wild and kind of put me in this position where suddenly grounded and like all the things that I normally do running around. Basically, if I had to summarize my work in a sentence, it's running down pit lane shouting at racing drivers, and I haven't done that since I came back from Baja in 2019, since November 2019. So that's kind of crazy to me. So there'll be a bit of F1 stuff this year, I think, alongside what we're doing with Wall Street Motorsport. I've got a couple of projects in the pipeline for doing stuff with F1. Our sort of baby of WSM will be grown hopefully, and we can see it flourish. But I've got a few other things in the pipeline. It's sort of, I think it really depends on how the sort of situation kind of shakes out here. I was on the phone earlier to Jost Pepito, who is someone who you'll probably know of.
Yeah.
He used to be at Ford when Matt and I were both sort of working on Ford stuff back in the day, and he went via Volkswagen, and he's now gone to Williams, the Formula One team, and he's moving over here. So he's going to be like, close to me here in Oxfordshire, and he's just like, well, I'll see you next year, sort of thing, because by the time you have to quarantine and come back and fly here and quarantine again, and it's just going to make the whole year quite difficult for people. So doing the sort of jobs that I do, like say the fun stuff that's normally on the side, has mostly been cut away. So it'll be interesting to see what we can actually do this year. But Wall Street Motorsport is the kind of the project going forwards. But there's always some other stuff, fun stuff happening. But we'll get back to Monaco one year. Don't you worry. We'll get you there. Everybody should experience the horror that is Monaco F1.
Well, Lynn, sorry to cut you off, but we are up against the time break. You want this full interview, check out Project Action, and we'll be back after this on the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. You want extreme performance, reliability, and the most fun you can have on four wheels? The Polaris RZR brings it to you. But you don't need to take my word for it. You can take theirs.
I'm Tanner Faust, and I choose the Polaris RZR because it's the most fun you can have with a steering wheel.
What's up? I'm Ronnie Renner, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the sickest, most reliable side-by-side on the planet.
What's up, everybody? Heavy D from Diesel Brothers. Listen, I'm on Team RZR because it's hands down the best piece of machinery on the planet.
I'm RJ Anderson, and I choose Polaris RZR because it's the most fun, most capable machine.
Action sports stars, TV personalities, and some of the best race car drivers in the world all choose Polaris RZR because it's the ultimate combination of power, suspension, agility, and fun. Find out more information on the web at PolarisRZR.com or follow at Polaris RZR on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and use the hashtag RZRLife to share your story.
Thanks for tuning in to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, available live online, in syndication on networks across the U.S., and available internationally on the American Forces Network.
And we're back here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Time to wrap things up. Big thanks to all of our guests, Lindsey, Orage, Matt Tisillo, and my good friend Andy Ives over there with Polaris RZR. Big thanks to General Tire, Polaris RZR, Vision Wheel, Rigid Industries, Dirtfish, Optimus, GSP, XTV Axles, iRacing, and our good friends at Manscape. Don't forget, Manscape.com. Use the coupon code JIMBEAVER. It'll get you 20% off plus free shipping. Also, don't forget JIMBEAVER15 at Dirtfish will get you 15% off any and all classes. And, I think our good friends at iRacing are running a nice, solid piece of PR currently as well. So, man, lots going on. I mean, a lot going on. Thank you, guys. I am at JimBeaver15 on social media, all forms of social media. And please, once again, support us by going over to Apple Podcasts, hitting the subscribe button to the Down and Dirty Radio Show. Also, check out Project Action. This week, long form. Yes, we cut out about 5-10 minutes of that interview with Matt and Lindsey. If you want that thing uncut in its raw form, head over to Project Action on Podcast One. Hit the hit the subscribe button, hit the play button, and you'll be able to hear that thing. And trust me, that whole thing is worth the listen if you get a chance to. So, with that, I'm going to sign off. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time right here on the General Tire Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.